Hey folks, welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to be using the paintbrush to create a video transition between two layers in After Effects. I've got two layers here on the timeline and I want to transition from the top layer through to the bottom layer. So to get started you need to click on the paintbrush here, and when you do, two option windows pop up, a selection of brushes and a selection of paints. Before we activate our paintbrush though, I'd like to go to Layer, New and Solid. You can leave it as a white layer and then click on OK. Make sure that white solid is on the top of the two layers you want to transition between, because we're going to paint onto that white solid. Double click the white solid like so, so you're looking at it as a layer rather than a composition. Now at the moment I've still got my paintbrush selected. You can see the size of it here. I'm just going to go back on my selection tool for a second, and I'm going to put the monitor size down to something like maybe 12.5 or 25%, just so it's going to be a little easier to paint on. So I'm going to go back on my paintbrush tool like so, and I'm going to make sure that under the paint palette I've got a black colour that's been selected like so. Click on OK. And on the paintbrushes, make sure you go for a soft brush, one of these, and I'm going to put the diameter to 1000. Now to paint is fairly straightforward. Probably having a graphics tablet will help, but you can do it with a mouse and a trackpad and do a basic job. So I'm going to start up here. Oh, by the way folks, one thing I should have said is before you paint, make sure your time marker is on 0. So it paints from the start of the timeline and the start of the layer. Sorry, should have mentioned that earlier. So let's go back up here, and I'm just going to click and drag my paintbrush as if I'm sort of doing a bit of spray paint graffiti over the layer like so. So I've now painted the whole layer black. When I've done that, I'm going to go back on my normal selection tool like so and click back on the composition window up here. So we've got a black layer. Now if you want to see what's been done to the white solid, you can open here, open Effects, open Paint, and you can see that a brush 1 has been added to the timeline. And what this little pink layer here, that's the painting that I've just done. If you expand it here and expand stroke options, you can see that you can slide start up and down, and you actually can animate that paint job. And we're going to use that animation as the transition. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my time marker is on, I'm going to go for 1 second on this case because I don't want the transition to start right at the beginning of the timeline. So I'm going to put it to about 1 second. And I'm going to grab end, and I'm going to slide that back down to 0 so that the paint hasn't started yet. The solid is back to being white. I'm going to set a keyframe for end. Then I'm going to go forward to 3 seconds. Fairly slow transition. Then I'm going to put end back up to 100, and it should animate that black paint being sprayed on the white layer. I'm going to collapse that back up just to give me a bit more space. And let's just have a little scrub through and see what we've got. There we go. So that spray job is going to work as our transition for the two layers. Let's just collapse that back up. Now what you're going to need is the track matte column here. If you don't have it, toggle down here like so. Now, layer 2, I'm going to click on track matte, and I'm going to go to Luma Matte White Solid. What you should now find is, once you've clicked on the track matte here and made it Luma Matte White Solid, if we now scrub through the timeline, we get this lovely transition between the two layers. It's like a sort of a spray can effect. Let's render that out and see what it looks like. Okay, not too bad. It's a nice sort of subtle effect, and again it's a little different from using the usual fade or basic opacity transition. Now you can make adjustments to it as well. Yeah, not too bad. It's a fairly quick job I've done, so you might want to sort of take a little bit more time with how much spray you put on and how quickly you do it over the course of the seconds. You might want to make a final adjustment. I'm going to open the white solid again, and I'm going to open stroke options, and again it's probably worth highlighting those keyframes and just doing a right click to make them, on the keyframe assistant, easy ease. You'll find it sometimes just makes the animation just run a little bit more smoothly. Let's just render that out one more time, and we'll just see if it's, I mean, to be honest, sometimes the differences are subtle, but easy ease is often good to put on most transitions just to sort of smooth things out a little bit more effectively. Let's see what the final result's like. Okay, yeah, not too bad. Okay folks, hope you found that useful. See you in the next tutorial.